Did you know that Dark Souls 3 came out more than 10 years ago? It really makes you think how much time has flown by since the game's release, and in this video, I want to take you back in time and explain how I was first introduced to Soulsborne games. I know I talked about Dark Souls 3 being my very first Souls game in an interview a long time ago, but I thought it'd be interesting to talk about my experience and how it went. When Dark Souls 3 released back in March of 2016, I had almost no knowledge about Souls games. Back then, I was a 17-year-old kid who was just getting into FPS games, and as luck would have it, Overwatch was released in the same year, and I played it almost religiously. I'm talking probably 3,000 hours spent in that game. I was really obsessed with it. I knew that Dark Souls existed and what Souls games was generally, but I had no interest in it whatsoever. All I knew was that it was known to be challenging and only the pro gamers enjoyed it.
Pathetic.
And well, one of my friends decided to give me Dark Souls 3 on Steam so we could play together back in 2018. And for some reason, it sat in my Steam library untouched until 2019. I don't remember why I didn't play for so long. I was probably too busy playing Overwatch or some other shooter game. Believe it or not, I also enjoy games that are not Souls-like, such as collection RPGs. These games are built around collecting characters and upgrading them to fight in battles for you. And since there's an autoplay feature in most of these games, I can relax without having to worry about rolling or dodging enemy attacks. If that sounds like a game for you, then you'd be interested to hear about this video's sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends. Raid Shadow Legends is a turn-based game that is built around collecting, upgrading, and assembling teams with hundreds of unique champions. Because it's a collection RPG, there's always something to upgrade, unlock, or optimize, with different ways to build teams as well as a rewarding collection loop that allows you to replay the game. There's over 1,000 champions with unique roles and kits, and since the game has been out since 2020, there is a massive content variety with campaigns, dungeons, and live events that you can catch up on. If you use my link in the description or use the QR code on the screen, you can instantly unlock a starter pack with the legendary Harvest Jack. You can also reach level 15 to get the ultimate Galek from the Orcs faction that can help out with your games. And if you're a new player trying out the game, you can also use one of these 4 promo codes to get another legendary character of your choice. So, if you're interested in playing this game, you can find and join my clan to play together. Thank you, Raid, for sponsoring this video. And back to the video. So, after my friend brought up the game again around April of 2019, I booted up Dark Souls 3 and lit a bonfire for the very first time. I have to inform you guys that at this point, I have mostly only played FPS games. I was a huge Call of Duty fan growing up, and I even had the Nintendo DS version when I was a kid. So playing a third-person RPG style game took me some time getting used to controls. But I eventually made my way to Gundyr, the first boss in Dark Souls 3. And in case you don't know, Gundyr was the tutorial boss of this game, and if you didn't defeat him, you couldn't progress with the game. Even in lore, he cemented himself as his trial that newcomers must go through to earn the right to move forward. And having no knowledge of how Souls games worked, I got my butt handed to me a lot. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. I probably died 100 times or so. I didn't know rolling gave me iframes back then, or even knew what iframes were, so I was spam rolling into attacks a lot and trying to parry with horrible timings. I did eventually beat him, but it took me over a month and I almost quit the game entirely because I thought the game was too tough. But on the other hand, my friend was a Souls veteran who already had hundreds of hours in both Dark Souls 1 and 2, so he beat the boss swiftly. And I remember him telling me to hurry up and beat the boss so we could play a game together. And I got so frustrated after a certain amount of attempts that I just quit trying for a couple of days. But for some reason, I came back to try again and again, and I remember at one point I begged him to beat the boss for me, but he just laughed, telling me that I had to do it on my own, as it was a rite of passage, and if I couldn't beat this boss myself, then I wouldn't be able to finish the game anyways. So during that month, I tried and tried again with little success, and one day I visited his house with my laptop so we could play together. Maybe he could give me tips based on how I played. And somehow I beat the boss after a couple more tries, and I still remember the rush of adrenaline that moment gave me, and I think that's where I started loving Souls games. After that, we figured out how multiplayer worked using the internet and just started pouring hours and hours into Dark Souls 3. I had a blast, and it was definitely different from any of the other games I played before. I loved the exploration, the boss fights, the vibe, and especially the multiplayer aspect of helping each other fight bosses. Since I joined the game a couple of years after the DLC, it wasn't as lively as its peak, but there was still a growing community gathered around Anor Londo. I loved joining PvP arenas right after Pontiff Sullivan. I have to say, when I was playing Dark Souls 3, I had zero clue what the story was about. But I think I speak for everyone when I say that no one knows what the heck is going on in their first playthrough of any Souls games. You're usually just thrown into a world where everything and everyone tries to kill you, but you kill them first. I was just enjoying the combat and exploration so much that I didn't mind not knowing what was going on 90% of the time. But I could tell that Dark Souls had a rich story and lore from the way it was presenting itself, especially with the boss cutscenes. So one time I decided to watch a lore video about Dark Souls 3, and that's when I discovered another new side to Souls games, the lore. I was shocked by how much lore there was to this game, and even more so on how people figured it out by just reading these cryptic pieces from item descriptions and somehow putting them all together like some kind of puzzle. After watching and learning about the lore of Dark Souls 3, I really fell in love with the game even more. It felt like I was really part of the story in a way, now that I knew what was really going on. Of course, from there I started consuming Souls content on the internet and discovered people like Bodypedia and Zoli the Witch, Iron Pineapple, etc. As of today, I played and finished all the Souls games except for Demon Souls. And I'm slowly devouring every lore video I could get because they're so interesting. And looking back in time to that one moment where I really considered giving up on Dark Souls 3, I feel grateful that I did not in fact do that. I'm also grateful to my friend who introduced me to the game as well, and it's kind of funny because nowadays I beg him to play Night Rain with me, but he says that he's totally burnt out from playing any Souls games and would rather play anything else, so that's kind of ironic. But that's my story of how I almost quit playing Souls games entirely. I was looking back through my old Reddit posts and messages from back then, and it makes me really nostalgic. Thank you for watching until now, and I hope you guys have a good day.